Now, the John C. Scott Show on KVOI 1030, The Voice. This show is now in its 23rd year of political talk in southern Arizona. It's the longest-running local talk show in Arizona, broadcasting from Tucson and around the world. This show is originated from Israel, Vietnam, and China, and is broadcast live from Washington, D.C., and the state capital of Arizona. John C. Scott has been called the conscience of Tucson. He is, in fact, the dean of Arizona local talk. The views expressed on this talk show reflect the views of the host, the guests, and the callers, and do not necessarily reflect the views of this station, the sponsors, or the management of KVOI. Now, the John C. Scott Show, the most talked to, talked about, and listened to talk show in Tucson.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to this historic day, June 28th. Mark it down. You were listening to the John C. Scott Talk Show on a day of history. 5-4 vote U.S. Supreme Court upheld the individual mandate of the Affordable Care Act on today. He's boosting health care reform and a dramatic victory for President Barack Obama in an election year. The majority of the court, joined by Chief Justice John Roberts, said the individual mandate is constitutional because it is a tax. And while there were 5 votes to uphold the law based upon Congress' constitutional powers to regulate commerce, the majority agreed that the penalty for not purchasing health insurance is the equivalent of a tax. We're going to get a response from the Republican candidate for Congress in Congressional District Number 2, Martha McSally. We'll also talk to Matt Hines, Democratic candidate for CD2, as a Democrat, and Ron Barber's statement. He is the incumbent, I guess you could call, from CD8, now CD2. All 3 of these prominent candidates for office for Congress will give us their take. We're going to talk with our legal advisor to the John C. Scott Show, Don Luce. The High Court upholds the Obama laws. We mentioned 5-4, and we will also talk about 1070, another historic ruling this week from the High Court. You will meet Olivia Cajero Bedford, state senator. She's seeking a 2-year Senate seat from Legislative District 3, and then we'll talk with Jimmy Bogle, the editor of The Weekly, as we break down The Weekly on radio. Let us go to Martha McSally, Republican candidate for Congress in Congressional District Number 2. And Martha, welcome to the show. Thanks for being with us.
Hey, John. Thanks for having me back.
Well, it is a historic day. Just absolutely no question about that. I wanted to spend a few moments with you about your response to the Affordable Health Care Act and the vote by the High Court today. As you run for this congressional seat, your reaction, please.
Yeah, honestly, John, I was totally shocked. I'm not a constitutional lawyer, but I was for sure that they were going to vote down the individual mandate as a minimum. So this ruling this morning is just shocking to me. And the amazing part about it is, as you know, the Obama administration, sort of sold this to the American people as it not being a tax, and taxes would not be raised to pay for it. And then, strangely, they've defended it to the Supreme Court as a tax, and that's the ruling that they've had is that it's legal, considered as a tax. So. Just because something is constitutional doesn't mean it's good policy. This is a burden on the American people. It's a burden on American businesses and, $1.76 trillion that it's going to cost. So, look, the bottom line is now it's time to repeal Obamacare. But as a Republican, we got to stop talking just about what we're against and talk about what we're for. We have got to address the root causes of why we're paying so much for health care. It is going to bankrupt our citizens. It's going to bankrupt our country. So we have to have some thoughtful proposals that people actually read before they pass through Congress.
All right. By the way, I just want to be sure I have your position clear. If you were in the House on July the 11th, I believe that's when Speaker Boehner said that he will ask for a repeal vote of Obamacare, or what is now the Affordable Health Care Act, you would vote to repeal it. Absolutely.
Absolutely. We need to repeal it, but we can't, where we were before is not the future either. So what we need to do, again, as a Republican is we need to put our heads together, and we need to do some real health reform that's not a government-run, government mandate, but actually has health care be affordable and available to individuals and a market-based solution. So we got to look at ways that we can work together. Federal government, some responsibilities are state government, some responsibilities, quite frankly, are in the private sector, so that we can bring the cost of health care down. That needs to be our focus. So. We can't just repeal it and then have nothing. We've got to repeal it and immediately be able to address real reform. We need reform, but it's just not this.
All right, Martha, thanks for talking with us. We'll talk in greater detail about this and have an extended interview with you very soon. Thanks for being with us today. Thank you.
Thanks, Don. Take care. Bye.
Lawyer to the